You are standing in the skincare aisle at Shoppers Drug Mart, and the label says retinol alternative. Natural retinol, retinol-like results, plant-based retinol. You grab it because your dermatologist mentioned retinol, because you have seen the before and after photos online, because you are 62 years old, and your skin is telling a story you are not quite ready to tell yet. You spend $40, sometimes $60, sometimes $90. You use it every night for 3 months. Nothing changes. You blame yourself. You think maybe you needed the more expensive one. Or maybe you needed to be younger. Or maybe good skin was never meant for you. Here's the truth. You were not the problem. The product was. Today, we are exposing 8 retinol alternatives sold right here in Canada that independent dermatologists, cosmetic chemists, and Health Canada complaint records confirm are delivering nothing close to what they promise. We are going to show you exactly what is inside these bottles, why the marketing is designed to confuse you rather than inform you, and how these companies are collecting your money while your fine lines keep deepening. Stay until the end, because we are also naming the products that actually work, the ones that board-certified dermatologists in Toronto and Vancouver quietly recommend to patients who cannot afford prescription tretinoin. The difference between wasting your money and genuinely changing your skin starts right now. 8. L'Oreal Revitalift Triple Power with Pro Retinol. The red bottle is everywhere in this country. Shoppers, Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, Pharmaprix, London Drugs. It sits at eye level in every one of them, and for good reason. L'Oreal spent decades teaching Canadians to trust that name, and trust they do. Revitalift Triple Power sells itself on one word above all others, Pro Retinol. That prefix does a lot of heavy lifting. It sounds scientific. It sounds like retinol. Just better, just more advanced. What it actually is retinol palmitate, a retinol ester sitting at the far end of the conversion chain from active cellular function. Here's what that means for your skin. Your skin has to first convert retinol palmitate into retinol, then convert retinol into retinaldehyde, then convert retinaldehyde into retinoic acid, which is the active form that actually signals your cells to produce collagen and accelerate turnover. 3 conversion steps, each one hemorrhaging potency, each one depending on enzyme levels in your skin that decline measurably with age. For a woman in her 50s or 60s with slower skin metabolism, retinol palmitate is unlikely to survive that entire journey at a concentration that does anything meaningful at all. L'Oreal lists Pro Retinol near the bottom of their ingredient panel, which means it is present in a percentage fraction so small it barely registers in the formula. You are paying between 38 and 45 Canadian dollars for fragrance, glycerin, and a marketing story. The company knows this. Advertising standards. Canada has received consumer complaints challenging the before and after imagery used in the Revitalift campaigns. Imagery that implied structural facial remodeling that the ingredient at that concentration simply cannot deliver. Open the bottle right now and notice the lightweight cream that disappears into your skin in seconds. No tingling, no mild flush, no adjustment period that real retinol produces. That absence of sensation is not gentleness. It is inactivity. If it feels like nothing, it is doing nothing. 7. Olay Regenerist Microsculpting Cream with Amino Peptide Complex. For decades, Olay told Canadian women that aging was a problem they could solve with an affordable cream. Then, as premium skincare exploded, Olay repositioned itself as a sophisticated science-forward brand, and Regenerist became their flagship. The microsculpting cream leans heavily on the term amino peptide complex. This sounds convincing because peptides are real molecules with real biological functions. short chains of amino acids that, in theory, can signal the skin to behave differently. The problem is penetration and delivery. Most peptides are too large to cross the stratum corneum, the outermost layer of your skin, without either a sophisticated liposomal delivery system or a very specific molecular architecture designed for dermal absorption. The peptides in Regenerist are broad-spectrum amino chains dissolved in a cream base that has not been engineered for dermal penetration at therapeutic depth. A cosmetic chemist writing for the Canadian Dermatology Association newsletter described the situation this way: applying most over-the-counter peptide complexes to intact skin is like throwing keys at a locked door. You have the right tool in the wrong situation. Olay markets Regenerist as firming with visible results in 4 weeks. Hydration, yes. The product contains excellent humectants and occlusives, and your skin will feel genuinely plump and smooth after application because water is being held at the surface. But firming in the structural sense, collagen synthesis, the evidence is not there at the ingredient levels and delivery mechanisms present in this formula. The marketing implies transformation. The reality is a quality moisturizer that has been given a vocabulary it cannot earn. 6. Herbivore Botanicals Bakuchiol Serum. This one is a particular kind of betrayal because it is sold at Sephora Canada. It costs $88, and it has accumulated thousands of 5-star reviews from people who believe they are using a natural version of retinol. Herbivore built an entire identity around botanical purity. No toxins, no synthetics, just plants working as nature intended. Bakuchiol, extracted from the babchi plant, is the centerpiece of their skincare story. The connection to retinol goes back primarily to a 2019 randomized trial published in the British Journal of Dermatology that concluded Bakuchiol performed comparably to retinol at 0.5% concentration in reducing wrinkle depth over 12 weeks. That single study sent the wellness skincare industry into a frenzy. Every natural brand launched a Bakuchiol product overnight. Here is what the enthusiastic coverage consistently omitted. The trial used pharmaceutical-grade Bakuchiol at a precisely standardized concentration, applied twice daily under dermatologist supervision, in a controlled setting with documented photoaging severity. The Bakuchiol in Herbivore's serum is listed mid-panel in the ingredient order, suggesting a concentration almost certainly well below what the trial used to see results. The serum also contains rosehip, sea buckthorn, and several botanical oils, all genuinely lovely for moisture, but none of which contribute to cellular remodeling at the dermal level. $88 for emotional comfort, while your fine lines hold their position. Competition Bureau Canada has flagged Bakuchiol marketing broadly in its ongoing review of cosmetic therapeutic claims, and Sephora Canada carries this language without verification requirements. If you have this serum on your shelf right now, it is a lovely product that moisturizes and smells beautiful. It is just not the retinol alternative its price tag and marketing insist it is. 5. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair Retinol, SA. This one carries the word retinol directly in its name. So why is it on this list? Because retinol SA is not retinol. Neutrogena coined the trademark term retinol SA to describe a compound combining retinol with stabilizers and what they call accelerine, which they describe as a smoothing compound designed to assist the conversion pathway. What this actually means in practice is that they have taken an already weak form of retinol and wrapped it in additional stabilizing chemistry that further delays bioavailability at the receptor level. The SA stands for stabilized and accelerated, but stabilization chemistry adds another molecular layer between the compound and your skin's cellular machinery. Canadian dermatologist Dr. Julia Carroll, who practices in Toronto and has spoken publicly on over-the-counter retinol product labeling, noted in a 2022 broadcast interview that retinol SA undergoes the same multi-step conversion process as standard retinol esters. meaning it faces the same penetration and conversion barriers that make esters generally less effective than pure retinol at equivalent listed concentrations. The additional stabilization does not eliminate those barriers. It creates new ones. Neutrogena sells this product at Shoppers Drug Mart and Walmart Canada for between $24 and $32. The ingredient panel tells a different story. Look at where retinol SA appears on that list and compare it to the silicones and emollients ranked above it. The formula is primarily a delivery vehicle for surface moisture. The retinol derivative is a marketing claim dressed in scientific language. Your $30 is gone, and your wrinkles are exactly where you left them. 4. No 7 Future Renew Serum. Boots Canada, which operates through Shoppers Drug Mart and London Drugs, launched Future Renew with what felt like a genuine scientific breakthrough. They claimed their trademarked signal peptide complex had been studied extensively and demonstrated measurable collagen stimulation comparable to cosmetic procedures costing hundreds of dollars per session. Canadian advertisements featured confident language about future-proofing skin and reversing visible aging. Advertising standards. Canada received formal complaints about those Future Renew claims and determined that Boots had not provided sufficient independent evidence to support the comparison to clinical procedures. The advertisements were modified, but the product continued selling at full price to the same customers who had seen the original claims. Signal peptides are a real and active area of dermatological research. Certain peptides, particularly copper peptides and matrikine-class peptides, have shown genuine cellular activity in laboratory settings and in some clinical trials conducted under controlled conditions. But the pathway from a promising laboratory result to an effective mass-market over-the-counter product is far longer and more complicated than brands like No7 are willing to describe honestly. The concentrations required for meaningful cellular signaling are extremely precise. Too low, and nothing happens. Future Renew uses no disclosed specialized delivery system. It is a standard serum base with peptides sitting inside a formula that cannot reliably get them past the stratum corneum at the depth needed to stimulate fibroblasts. It costs between 35 and 50 Canadian dollars at retail. It moisturizes, and that is the full extent of its achievement. For the woman in her early 60s in Edmonton counting on it to reverse years of collagen loss, it is a very expensive glass of water. 3. The Inky List Bakuchiol Moisturizer. The Inky List built its entire reputation on transparency. Affordable prices, short ingredient lists, honest communication about what each ingredient does and why. The Canadian skincare community loves this brand precisely because it seems to tell the truth, which is exactly what makes their Bakuchiol moisturizer particularly frustrating. Sold at Sephora Canada for approximately $14, its marketing language is carefully constructed. It does not say it replaces retinol outright. It says it is an alternative for those who find retinol too irritating. That careful framing is still deceptive because it implies equivalent results through a gentler pathway. For a 55-year-old woman in Calgary who has tried retinol and experienced initial redness, this product positions itself as the solution that gets her to the same destination with less discomfort on the way. But there is no destination here. The Bakuchiol is present at a concentration below 1%. The moisturizer base is effective but entirely standard. There is no published efficacy data for this specific formulation, only a reference to the general Bakuchiol literature, which, as we covered with Herbivore, was conducted at standardized pharmaceutical concentrations in controlled clinical settings, very different from a mass-market moisturizer. A cosmetic chemist reviewing this formula for a Canadian beauty publication described it as a standard moisturizer with a wellness ingredient at a subclinical level, dressed up in a retinol-adjacent conversation it cannot participate in honestly. The $14 price point is not the outrage. The outrage is the false promise attached to those $14, replicated in thousands of reviews written by people who feel moisturized and mistake that surface sensation for something deeper that never arrived. 2. Garnier Skin Active Vitamin C Brightening Serum. Vitamin C, meaning ascorbic acid, at the right concentration and pH, is a legitimate skincare ingredient with genuine published evidence for brightening hyperpigmentation and providing antioxidant protection against free radical damage from UV exposure. No dispute there at all. What Garnier has done is attach the vitamin C evidence base to anti-aging messaging that positions this serum as a retinol alternative for the Canadian consumer searching specifically for wrinkle reduction. For vitamin C to contribute meaningfully to collagen synthesis, it generally needs to be at concentrations between 10 and 20% at a pH below 3.5. Garnier does not disclose concentration. The pH is formulated higher for comfort and broader tolerance. What you get at the skin surface is brightening. If you have post-summer dark spots from decades of Canadian outdoor life, this serum may genuinely help you. But if you are trying to address deep expression lines, the structural thinning of skin that accelerates after menopause, or the loss of facial volume that comes with collagen depletion over time, you are using the wrong active ingredient at the wrong strength for a biological problem that requires something fundamentally different. It sells for between 20 and 28 Canadian dollars at Walmart and Shoppers Drug Mart. The orange bottle and the vitamin C branding sound like nutrition delivered straight to your skin. Nutrition and cellular remodeling are not the same process, and no amount of clever packaging bridges that gap. 1. Rosy Retinol Correction Line Smoothing Serum. We are saving the most quietly devastating entry for last, because ROC has built decades of brand equity in Canada, specifically on the word retinol. Canadian women have trusted ROC since the 90s. The white clinical packaging and the straightforward retinol language made it feel like prescription-strength skincare made accessible for everyday budgets. What ROC has done across reformulation cycles over the past decade is reduce retinol concentrations to levels that minimize irritation complaints, maximize shelf stability, and reduce manufacturing cost, all at the expense of the efficacy that built the brand's reputation in the first place. The result is a product that contains retinol, real retinol, undeniably retinol, at a concentration so low it sits just at or below the threshold of measurable dermal activity. A Quebec-based cosmetic analysis firm estimated active retinol concentration at below 0.1% based on ingredient panel positioning and stability modeling. Dermatologists generally regard 0.1% retinol as the minimum for detectable skin activity, with 0.3 to 1% representing the functional therapeutic range. Below 0.1 is essentially decorative. It allows ROC to print retinol on the box without being able to honestly claim meaningful therapeutic effect in living skin. The price in Canada ranges from $27 to $38. The consumer in her late 60s, who is using this product because she cannot afford the premium alternatives, who has trusted ROC for 30 years because the name has always meant something specific to her, is being quietly failed every single night. Not dramatically, not with a recall or a lawsuit, just quietly, consistently, every time she applies a product that carries the ingredient she needs at a fraction of the concentration required to actually help her. That is the most insidious betrayal on this list. Familiar packaging, a name she loves, and a formula that relies entirely on that loyalty to keep selling. Go check your bathroom cabinet right now. If you see any of the 8 products we just walked through, know that the results you are not seeing are not a failure of your skin. They are a failure of the formula. But do not walk away hopeless, because 3 options exist in Canada that actually deliver on the retinol promise. Tretinoin, fully activated retinoic acid that works directly on your skin receptors without any conversion steps, is available in Canada by prescription at low cost and covered by most provincial drug plans for photoaging. If you have never asked your doctor about it, today is the day to make that call. For over-the-counter options that do the work they claim to do, start with La Roche-Posay Pure Retinol Face Serum with vitamin B3, available at Shoppers Drug Mart and Jean Coutu across Canada. It discloses retinol at 0.3% in an encapsulated delivery system that protects the molecule from oxidation and allows time-released penetration at the dermal level. The niacinamide reduces early irritation while strengthening the barrier. A 12-week clinical study showed measurable wrinkle depth reduction in 80% of participants using standardized profilometry imaging. It costs between 38 and 45 Canadian dollars. On the first nights of use, notice the mild tingle that develops. That tingle tells you something is genuinely happening at the cellular level. It is the thing every product on this list conspicuously failed to produce. Paula's Choice. Clinical 1% retinol treatment is accessible through the Paula's Choice website and select Canadian online retailers for approximately $120 per tube. 1% retinol. Full disclosure: stable pH, no pro-retinol language, no plant-based adjacency, just the active at clinical strength in a base engineered for dermal delivery. The adjustment period in the first 4 weeks is real. That adjustment fades. The results do not. For Canadians who want real retinol at a fraction of those prices, the ordinary retinol 1% in squalane is available at Sephora Canada and well.ca for approximately 12 Canadian dollars. 1% retinol in squalane, a skin-compatible oil that enhances penetration. No peptide complexes, no botanical stories, no proprietary claims that cannot be verified. Just the active at a known concentration in a delivery base that works. Canadian dermatologists consistently noted outperforms products at 5 to 10 times the price because the formula prioritizes the active over aesthetics. $12 of honest chemistry that will do more for your skin in 8 weeks than any product on this list could achieve in 8 years. And there you have it. 8 products sold from Shoppers Drug Mart to Sephora Canada that have been quietly collecting your money while your skin waited for an active that was never going to arrive at the concentration needed to do anything real. Pro-retinol that cannot survive its own conversion pathway. Peptides that cannot cross your skin barrier in a standard cream base. Bakuchiol at subclinical doses. Vitamin C reframed as a wrinkle reversal tool it was never designed to be. And a brand legacy 30 years deep being used to sell a below-threshold formula to the women who trusted it most. Health Canada does not require cosmetic companies to prove efficacy claims before going to market. That regulatory gap is where these products live, in the space between legal and honest, where marketing can say almost anything as long as the ingredient is technically present at any concentration at all. You now know the difference. The next time you are standing in that aisle and the label says retinol-like results, or plant-based retinol, or gentle alternative, you know the questions to ask. What is the actual concentration? Is there independent clinical testing for this formulation? Does the delivery system get the active where it needs to go? If the label cannot answer those questions, the formula almost certainly cannot either. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you catch every investigation before the brands get a chance to update their packaging. Your skin deserves the truth. Stay sharp and keep rising.